Tough game. Knicks got out to a 16-point lead in the first. Clippers turn the tables on them. They go up 16 again. Knicks down. Come back in the third quarter. But they just had no answers for Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, man. 60 points combined for Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. Where'd this thing go wrong tonight, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's those two plus Paul George 32
30
points in 26 minutes. You know, you had three guys that scored over 32 points. 32 for Lou Williams and Paul George, 34 for Montrezl Harrell. I mean, that's kind of the story of it right there. You know, you can't really – it's tough to beat a team when you let three separate guys go off for 30-plus. I mean, normally you're lucky if you let one guy go off for 30-plus in a game. You know what I mean? And they let three separate guys. And really the rest of the team, you know, JaMychal Green hit a few threes. But the rest of the team, I mean, maybe it's just they weren't asked to do much. But the rest of the team didn't really do too much. But, yeah, I guess, you know, when you have those three guys doing as much as they were, it's not even really that necessary. But, you know, credit to the Knicks. Like, this game, you know, they came out and they blitzed them in the first quarter, 45-29. They lit up a really abysmal second quarter. That quarter they lost 47-24. But then the rest of the way out, they were pretty competitive and even won the fourth quarter pretty handily and almost pulled off this comeback. So I give them credit. You know, there's always all talk about there's no moral victories, stuff like that. But I thought that they did about as close as you can get to a moral victory tonight. You know, it sucks to lose a game, especially where you leave the first quarter up by 16. But ultimately, even without Kawhi Leonard, this is a title contender, you know. And
it's a deep team, man. It's a deep team, as we see.
This is a team that played great. You know, they played great before they even got Kawhi and Paul George, you know, and they were a playoff team last year with basically the same team minus those two. So,
facts.
You know, it's tough to really complain too much, but yeah, it still stung. You know, it would have been nice if they could have pulled off the comeback or if they could have just put it all together, but it was nice to see them also not completely fall apart at the seams and suffer one of those huge blowouts like were kind of the staple of the Fizdale era that I feel like we would have seen if
True.
You know, if it was Fizdale still.
Well, things did kind of get out of hand early when, you know, second quarter, you know, Bobby starts going off, then he starts popping off. He gets a technical foul. Julius Randle caught a technical foul. Marcus Morris caught some techs. They started to come apart at the seams a little bit. Patrick Beverley kind of got under their skin in the second quarter. That led to that large lead that they went out to. I thought they just, you know, give credit. Montrezl Harrell, man, he abused Mitch. Mitch had an off night tonight. He couldn't stop him. He was too physical for Mitch. The way he just gets low when he posts up and gets into the paint, they just had no answers for it. And he knew Mitch was a tall, athletic center, so he used his strength and physicality and really went into Mitch and really just dominated in the paint.
Yeah, and he's got the type of moves that can frustrate Mitch, you know? Like Mitch, I think Mitch is still learning as good as he is on defense. He is still learning how to, you know, properly play that position in the NBA and particularly one-on-one defense and stuff like that. He's not perfect yet, you know. And guys like Harrell are going to frustrate him because Harrell has he's got kind of a progressive NBA game with how he plays overall. Like he can run the floor and all that, but he has a great back to the basket game and a great fake game and, you know, pivot moves and everything else. And that kind of stuff can still kind of frustrate Mitch some nights. So, it's something that Mitch is going to have to work through. But all in all, I thought even as the game went on, Mitch started to kind of learn his tendencies a little better at least. And do a little better than he was early in the game. So it's all part of a process. You know, Mitch is still young. I think it was a good learning experience for him, and I'm sure that they'll have more matchups down the line. I mean, obviously they're going to have at least one more this year because the Knicks play the Clippers one more time. I think it's in the next couple weeks, so might get a chance of redemption soon.
Might have a chance of redemption, man. I thought another area, you know, they were able to still bring this game to within three separate times in the fourth quarter. And I thought they did make a couple good adjustments. You did see them put Randall on Harrell to try to match that physicality a little bit. I thought Reggie Bullock got in the mix a little bit. Obviously, Marcus Morris had another outstanding game, and he tried to bring him back in the clutch. But free throws, you know, once again, 24 for 37 from the free throw line. Obviously, with a team like this that's that deep, you have no margins for error. And so, you know, once again, missing 13 free throws, you just can't expect to win on the road like that.
Yeah, I saw people, complaining about the refs and stuff, and I think that's somewhat valid. I mean, I thought those technicals were kind of ticky-tacky, and the one that was called on Morris should have been called a double on Beverly as
Yeah,
well, because
yeah,
Beverly like slapped his
definitely
hand
should have been
away.
called a double. Yeah, definitely should
Um,
have been called a double tech on
a
Beverly.
double tech. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of a momentum killer, and that whole little sequence was a big momentum killer in the second quarter. But you can't blame the refs when you leave 13 points on the line.
13
I mean,
points.
that's way too many. They
Yeah,
can't be leaving that. They gotta tighten that up, and we've seen it tighten up for various stretches of games. They'll shoot 80% or whatever, and things start to look pretty good. Or even 75% would be fine. If they shot 75% in this game, they win.
yeah,
That's the facts. But um, there's only so much you could do with it. Mook, like to your point, was great.
outstanding, man.
38 points, 13 and 19 shooting, 6 to 7 from three. Even he had his struggles at the free throw line, though. Ironically, RJ Barrett was the guy at the free throw line today.
RJ was the guy, and RJ started the game off hot, man. And
Yep.
he didn't have a good game against Phoenix, so it was good to see him. He started the game off real well. Got to the basket a lot, was very aggressive. Went at Paul George a couple of times. He had a nice move where he was able to get that separation on him and finish at the rim. 9 for 11 from the free throw line, 24 points. A solid bounce back game for RJ, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. I loved it. And he came out like really seemed like he must have been browsing Twitter or something before the game, because there's been I've seen a lot more like RJ is a bust talk going around lately, and I'm like, man,
we gotta kill that
that.
noise. Kill that
Yeah,
noise.
you got to
Man.
chill with that. I mean, every guy's gonna have his off
Yeah,
times, especially as a rookie. I think I pointed out last time when I was on here, he's reaching about the point where he's at basically a college season now. In about half the time. Like normally this is the amount of games the Knicks have played right now, or the amount the average college player has played by the end of March, if they made it into March Madness and played a few games.
yeah.
So, he's probably dealing with that, and playing the high minutes early in the season and all that. But tonight, awesome. This is exactly what you want to see out of him. He was one of the few plus players on the team for tonight, and he had the highest plus minus. And I mean, it showed. I think he actually played like the player with one of the only positive plus minuses
Yeah.
on the team.
RJ was solid, man.
But he was doing
Yeah.
what makes him good too. That's the thing. He wasn't forcing the issue at all, but he started off strong by just getting to the hoop a few times and just bullying his
True.
way in. He even threw Paul George off at one point,
Yeah.
and just powered through and made a layup early in the game. And I think that did a lot for his confidence. So I hope that's something he goes back to.
That's his game, man. And people have to understand. Listen, he's not a good shooter at this point. He didn't come into the game as a good shooter, a good free throw shooter. So his weaknesses have been the same. You know what I mean? You're gonna expect bad shooting nights. That's RJ. That's who he is. We have to see if he's gonna improve. He just got here. We got to give this kid some time. All that bus talk and everything. I can't go for that, man. The kid still has in the intangibles. He still brings other strengths to the game that can help this team win. And I thought he did a great job getting us started.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you didn't see quite as much of the distributing with him tonight, but
Right.
that was okay, because I was fine with him getting himself going and then kind of keeping that going. Because I'd rather see him gain confidence in his shooting first again, or just in his offensive game, even if it's not necessarily shooting. Get that confidence back first, and then start looking to create for others. But he's the rare guy where I'd be like, take your own shot, figure yourself out first, and then worry about everybody else. Especially when you have like he's out there with Ntilikina, who's passed first.
Yeah.
Randall's been passing a lot more lately, and passing efficiently, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Kadeem Allen with 6 assists.
Kadeem came
Yeah.
off the dust and
Mhm.
got him off to a hot start, man. He was playing well out there.
Yeah, he was good. I wouldn't have known that he hadn't. When was the last time he played with the Knicks? He's only made one other appearance this year, right?
He only made one other appearance. That was maybe last month or so.
Yeah. And I was worried before the game. I knew they were going to need that depth, and I was like, oh, I hope they had Kadeem called up for this game. I mean, I suppose that's easy enough to do, but considering they're on the West Coast, I was like, oh, that's a little harder than if you're at a home game and you have to call him in from Westchester. Like, I didn't know if they had him with the team and were prepared for this, but
Yeah.
I'm glad they were, because he put in some really quality minutes in 20 minutes. I mean, I'd say like it's going to be really tough in the next few weeks, if they manage to find a trade for, let's say, Smith, who seems to want out, if they maybe find a trade for Trier, and if they maybe get rid of Morris and stuff like that, and you start getting a couple empty roster spots here and there on this team, it's going to be really intriguing to see, like, do they convert Kadeem Allen to a regular contract? Do they look to sign Lamar Peters?
Peters is
who's
beasting,
been killing
man.
it. He's been
Lamar
killing
Peters
it in
is
Westchester.
beasting.
Or do they look to sign Wooten, who's also been killing it in Westchester? I mean, it's going to be an interesting decision. They could also, I mean, I haven't heard much about Ivan Rabb, the other two-way guy, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe they'll convert someone to his spot too.
I haven't heard much, man.
Let him go. Yeah.
It couldn't, you couldn't ask for a better audition tape if it's been, true that the Clippers have been interested in Marcus Morris. That's a team I look at that could be looking to trade for him for this stretch run. I mean, 38 points, 6 or 7 from downtown. He's in his bootleg mellow bag, man. He's in his mellow bag. He was killing it tonight. Killing it.
Yeah, it was great. I loved every bit of his performance. I mean, some of the shots too, I was just like, how is he making these? I mean, he was like a man possessed. He set a new career high.
New career high, 38 points, 13 for 19.
And he had those couple down he had the couple down the stretch where he was like trying to draw a foul.
Yeah.
And just happened to make the shot.
Miracle 3-pointer. Miracle 3-pointer that he hit.
3-pointer. And then immediately after he hit a 2-pointer right around the elbow, doing the same thing, trying to draw a foul because he just kind of got caught in the middle and didn't have anything else to do. And, he went for the elbow jumper and just happened to make it. I don't know. It was like he was like on fire. It was like NBA Jam style. He just couldn't miss for basically the whole second half. It was crazy.
True story.